Hello, YouTube. Here for another live stream if you're and this is a New Earth series completely dedicated to leaders of the New Earth. If you landed here, I trust and I know that you're divinely guided to be here. If you've been following my channel and content that I put out for any length of time, then you are part of the ascension of New Earth and you have a very specific role to play. And woo, the energies right now, I can feel them. But I was telling my mom the other day, it's kind of like, it's like you have your soul, your fire, your creativity, the calling within, that that soul on fire, right? That creative, fiery, passionate element. And it's like the divine, the universe has just been like pouring gasoline on that fire lately, and it is full blazing. It is a full flame, and it's very hard to contain. And so I have no idea what's going to come out in this session right now, but I do know that part of my mission is to activate the leaders of New Earth into your mission, your calling, your purpose, what you are here to channel through you, because you are a channel and you have so much magic and ancient wisdom and so much magic within that is being called to be unleashed. And you're not going to be able to put a cap on it anymore. Moving into 2025, you're being called into your dharma, into your highest timeline, into your role that you're here to play, that you already agreed to help elevate a New Earth in your own way, right? As part of this ascension that's happening. And this is being recorded right now at the time of the Gemini full moon. And so there's been a lot of like little themes popping up and words popping up prior to hitting the live button right now. So I'm just going to share what's coming through. The word that's coming to mind right now, that's coming up, is freedom. Freedom of expression, freedom of time, freedom to live your path the way you choose, in alignment with your soul core values. This whole month, with the new moon and being in Sagittarius, I believe, which is also rooted in freedom and fun and a very fiery, passionate, element. And then culminating here with, not culminating yet, but Gemini amplifying this, right? Where has it been illuminated within the last few weeks, even where you have not been choosing yourself? The other word that's coming up is choice point. You're coming to a choice point where it's kind of like there's a tug of war between the mind, logic, and the heart's knowing, the heart's intuition, the heart's calling. And so this is about choosing your highest truth and being in authentic alignment with what you are being called to create for your life, your path, right? Like where you are being called. And so there's been things illuminated the last several weeks or months, even, where you have not been choosing yourself and not allowing yourself to be free, still buying into old paradigms, old programming, old conditioning that says you have to muscle your way through life, or you have to hustle, or you have to figure it out, or you have to kind of have some kind of foundation under you, to have some kind of sense of security and safety and things like that. And this is all very primal, all very root chakra, but at the same time, you've been clinging to a false sense of safety or security in some way that is built on like a house of cards. It's going to come tumbling, right? Like there's a dismantling going on where you're no longer able to build from a false foundation, meaning a foundation that's rooted in fear or untruths or falsehoods in any way. And spirit, the divine, God, life has been reflecting back to you all the places that you have still been buying into a story where you can't have it all. And I'm here to tell you that if you are resonating with this path, the ascension timeline, new earth, and you resonate with the way of the divine feminine, you are not here to settle in mediocrity. You are here to live abundantly, anchored in your truth, honoring your heart and sacred wisdom, following your intuition, answering the call of your soul. And I already know the ones that I attract are the ones that I'm here to help activate. And those are the souls that came here during this time of ascension in order to contribute in some way through their magic and their gift, their voice, their message, their medicine, whatever it is for you. And this is going to require you choosing your highest truth. And so choice point has been coming up. There's a choice point that you're going to be making that is going to align you with your dharma, and it's going to be looking at two different options, most likely, where one is going to feel very, very familiar. It's going to be something that kind of keeps you in some kind of familiar pattern where at least you know what you can expect out of it. But on a soul core level, it is like you cannot get your energy around it, and you know this. And even though this thing, whether this be like a circle, like a business partnership or a career opportunity or a way that you're making money or a relationship or whatever the case may be, this may have served you, and of course it did serve you, because everything is serving us, but this served you to a certain point on your journey, and it's no longer going to serve you moving forward. And your soul knows it. You know it. I know it. This isn't a secret. It's being illuminated that you're not going to be able to do or be in that space or circumstance or situation or relationship or career or whatever the case may be moving forward, because your soul is calling you for more. Your soul is calling you for expansion. Your soul is calling you to own your sovereignty, freedom being a very, very key element of this. Sorry, I have like here. Okay, we got it. This is like really bothering me. Okay, let me take a sip here. So that's a lot of what's coming through right now. There's like this tug of war, and it's all just fear-based. It's all just buying into the story. It appears and feels as if there is a tug of war, because this is where your focus is, a tug of war between the masculine, which is the logical mind, which is very ego-based, which is very rational and focused on the external world. The keyword that's popping up here is logic, rational mind, versus the tug of war between that and your heart's knowing, your heart's truth, your intuition, what you're feeling called, right? Like your heart and soul's knowing. There's like a tug of war happening there. And this is about this is very solar plexus chakra related, really surrendering to the divine plan, surrendering to the unknown, because the choice point that you're going to have is going to have familiarity and something that's very logical, something that's very rational, something that's maybe served you in the past, something that can give you some sense of security or safety or something like that. But it's not lighting you up. It's not making your heart sing. It's not something you can get your energy behind. And the other choice is what your soul is calling you for to move into, what your heart is calling you, what your intuition is calling you towards, what the divine is calling you towards. And it's a big unknown mystery over here. There's no guarantees, there's no certainty, and in fact, it's completely contrasting what the rational or logical mind would be saying right now, right? So it's like there's rational, logical, safety, security, comfort zone, familiarity over here. And then there's the unknown mystery and magic of following what lights you up answering the call, stepping into your magic and owning that, and living your wildest dreams. And you can feel it. There's a bubbling up. You can feel it, but you can't see it yet. You can maybe have glimpses of it. Your intuition's, giving you little breadcrumbs on it, but it's not something that you can see, and you're not supposed to see. So the other thing that's coming up is you're at the edge of the cliff. You're at the edge of the cliff where you're moving into a place where you have no choice but to jump, and in faith that that the universe is going to catch you. And I know that this sounds a little extreme, but this is it's kind of like an initiation for those that are really stepping into your calling to serve at the highest level, which is required that you are led by trust, faith, and devotion to your calling, and fully knowing and understanding that you are guided and protected, and that you get to be, do, or have whatever it is that you want to be, do, or have through your co-creation with universal energies. Right now it's very potent to support you in this transition, but it's going to challenge the rational mind. It's going to challenge the logical mind. It's not going to make sense. It's going to be completely illogical. It's not going to make any sense except to your heart, except to the part of you that knows, which is the part of you that I'm talking to right now, the part of you that knows, which can only be accessed right now at the 0 point, right? Like in presence now, this part of you that knows, that is beyond any of the fear-based programming or conditioning or belief systems or anything like that. It's anchored here. It's right here, right now. Your presence, centered in now. There's a knowing. It's clear. You're being guided. It's calling you forward. You don't even have a choice in this. So the person that is meant to hear this message, you know that you don't even really feel like you have a choice in this. You're surrendering personal will, which is why I said this is very solar plexus chakra related. You're surrendering personal will to the divine will, and trusting and knowing in full faith that you will be divinely compensated and supported in your dharma. It's almost to the point now where you've likely been receiving so many synchronicities around this, and so many downloads and intuitive impulses and things like this, that it's impossible for you to not know at this point that you're not divinely guided and supported on this path. But doubt still creeps in. Doubt is like the devil in this situation. It gets you to completely shut down your intuition and your impulses, and your channel is now like unclear, right? It's like you are a channel, but doubt will come in and appear to kind of clog that up, so where it feels as if you're operating from a state of confusion. And doubt is coming from the mental body and coming from past programming and past conditioning that has nothing to do with who you actually are. You are not that. You are here. You are the presence. You are the soul having this physical experience. You are connected to all that is. So doubt is something that is up. Like, doubt is going to feel very crippling to you on this journey right now. And this is where the choice point comes in, because what is trust. What you're really choosing is trust in yourself, trust in the divine, which are the same because you are the divine, and unwavering faith and trust in what you're feeling called to do. And so you may be at this place where you're trying to figure it out, or you're getting caught up in doubt, which is causing anxiety around this choice, which may or may not have presented itself to you yet, but it will if you're resonating with this. And the anxiety is coming from trying to figure it out. And so the message here is stop trying to figure it out. You're not going to be able to figure it out. That's like That's just this never ending, like, you know, dog chasing its tail. You're never going to be able to figure it out. The only thing that you can do is anchor into your heart's knowing, trust in what your intuition and what your heart is calling you towards, and then take inspired action from that place. So let's just like take it down and remove the confusion, remove the doubt, remove the anxiety. What if you just bring your focused awareness into your heart space and do nothing until you feel called and pulled to move? And then when you are feeling moved, you make a move and towards what is inspiring to you. That's it. That's all you need to do. There is no figuring it out. Figuring it out and trying to make sense of this is you going back up into the mental body and then trying to use your rational, logical mind to try to figure this out. This is the war that's happening between the head and the heart, between the ego and the soul, between the rational, logical mind and the intuitive knowing of the heart and soul, which leads you into the unknown and the mystery and the magic, which opens you up to things that will blow your mind, into a life and to synchronicities and to rendezvous and to collaborations and opportunities and doors opening that weren't there before, because you were not the version of you that was ready to walk through the door. The doors will appear when you're the version of you that's ready to walk through the door. And that's going to require you fully anchoring into your soul's knowing. So does this make sense? When I say make sense, does it resonate? Trying to figure this out from the rational, logical mind is just going to be a hamster wheel that you never get off, and it's going to cause unnecessary doubt, struggle, strife, anxiety, and things like that. The solution is to breathe and come into your heart space, connect with your sacred feminine intuition, your heart's knowing, and trust. And then take action on whatever inspired nudges call you forward, and recognize where the mind will try to like sabotage that by procrastination or perfectionism or doubt. Again, doubt's a big one. So whatever you're being called to create or do or move into, recognize analysis paralysis, procrastination, out in any of that. It's time to take messy, imperfect action towards whatever it is you're called to do. I hope my internet connection is good. I just got to notice that it was low. Totally surrendered in full faith. And the other thing that's coming through is the choice point that's going to be made, that's going to really require 1818 on the counter when I just looked up. New beginning skies, abundance, manifestation in all areas of your life when you're able to trust and follow your intuitive guidance, which means stop trying to figure it out, stop worrying about it, stop being anxious about it, and ask your soul, ask the divine, what do I need to know? What is in my highest and greatest good? And be open to receive the nudges, be open to receive the inspiration, and then take action on that. And know that it's not going to make sense. It will feel like it's lighting you up, right? Like you're going to know because it's going to feel lighter. It's going to feel like ease. It's going to feel like flow. It's going to feel fun. It's going to feel playful. It's going to feel like you being you and doing your thing, whatever that is. New Earth is going to require that you are fully stepping into your most authentic expression, meaning you're choosing your path that is in highest alignment for you. One of the things that was coming up was, this choice point. Yep, circling back. I get on a tangent. Okay, so circling back, this choice point represents, safety, comfort, familiarity. Also something that is not lighting you up, something that maybe served you in the past, but is not serving you now because of the way you feel about it. because you're being called to something else, because you're being lit up by doing something else. You can't even get your energy around it. And this could be anything. So just apply this as it resonates. But this represents good. This represents it's good enough. It's good enough, but it doesn't light you up. It's good enough, but it doesn't set your soul on fire, right? And right now, it's like the divine is like pouring gasoline on that passion, that passionate fire. And now it's flaming and it needs a creative outlet. So, creative expression is another thing that's coming up because this is a highly passionate, creative energy that's bubbling up that's going to move you into your highest Dharma timeline. And you need to be able to embrace this creative outlet, which is why you don't need to figure out what's over here. You just need to follow the creative impulses, stay in your creative flow. But this represents good. It represents good enough, but you're not here to live a good enough life. You're here to live the most mind-blowing, wildly fun, in the flow, anchored in your sovereignty life. You're not here to play mediocrity. That mediocrity game you have played, and that game is over. You've graduated, and that you can feel it. This is what's over here. And the phrase that's coming up is good is often the enemy of great. This is about stepping into your divine greatness, not settling for what's good enough. If you're on this path and you've been following me for a while, you've landed on this video, I know that you've been settling for good enough for long enough. You've been settling for good enough or mediocrity or crumbs in your life in some way, shape, or form, whether that be through career, how you make money, where you live, the relationships you're in. You have allowed yourself to be on the back burner, so to speak. You've settled, you've compromised, you've chosen paths that were not anchored in what you've stayed in situations long past their expiration, and you've chosen paths that weren't the most aligned. But you also have experiences on your timeline when you have trusted in faith and and it completely shifts everything, right? So good is often the enemy of great, and you're here to live in your divine greatness. And which means it's kind of like the universe is dangling a little carrot in front of you right now with a choice point that's coming up that you may already know about or is going to be coming into your experience, which is going to challenge you. Are you going to bite that carrot of mediocrity? Are you going to bite that carrot of settling? Are you going to bite that carrot of being comfortable or staying in your familiar environment or situation or circumstance, a relationship or job or career or whatever the case may be? Or are you going to take a leap of faith on yourself? This is, again, bringing you to the edge of the cliff. The edge of the cliff is you trusting life, trusting in yourself, and trusting in the divine guidance and support that you know you are receiving to take a leap of faith on yourself. And it's really you trusting you trusting you, and you trusting the divine, which are the same things. I speak to leaders. I'm here to activate the leaders of New Earth. I'm here to activate those that are being called into service, divine service, as part of the ascension on planet Earth right now. And your highest timeline is going to be you anchored in your divine sovereignty, your magic, your gift, your medicine for the world, whatever that case may be. And right now, there's something calling you that it's okay and safe to and ready for you to take action on. And all you have to do is follow the inspired nudges and be willing to see a situation differently. This is going to get to the core of your fear-based reactions, fear-based, knee-jerk reactions, especially when it comes to how you're going to be supported or how it's going to work out, or if you're going to be able to have the stability or the comfort or all of those things. Because right now you're being asked to step into something where it's just a big unknown mystery and you're just getting glimpses of it. And you've probably been getting glimpses of it for a while, but the universe, the divine, is giving you a taste of it because you still have to show up as you. You still have to show up as the Empress. You still have to show up fully owning your magic and your gift, and you still have to fully show up anchored in your divine presence and trusting in yourself unwaveringly with courage and being able to follow your soul guidance. Despite what the logical mind, the rational mind, or anybody else in the peanut gallery has to say about it, because this will not make sense. Like I said, for the person that I'm speaking to, for the collective that I'm speaking to, your choice point is gonna be very much between something that feels very comfortable, logical, and rational, and that's likely served you in the past, but is not serving you moving forward, and you know it, and something else is lighting you up and calling you forward, and you're meant to follow that. You're meant to embrace your inner child, the one that is anchored in wonder and mystery and magic and infinite possibilities. I'm getting full body chills, and it's 555 on the counter when I looked up. So, I mean, that says it all, right? Big changes are coming. It's time to let go of the old, which is the old past conditioning, ways of thinking, uh, belief systems where you still think you have to work really hard doing something that you're not in love with, or where you have to be in a situation or a relationship or something that's not serving you because there's a part of you that's unsure if you're going to have anything better. Like your big changes, letting go, trusting, and moving into a whole new beginning, a shift that is not going to let up. So if you feel this energy bubbling up within you, this is not going to let up, especially as we're moving into 2025. You're meant to step into your divine greatness. You're not meant to settle for good or good enough or mediocrity or settle for crumbs. So the question to be asking yourself, which you may already know, but just in case, is where in your life do you not feel free? Where are you still buying into a story that limits you? Where are you not choosing yourself? Where are you not choosing your highest timeline? Where are you making a fear-based decision or agonizing over some kind of decision when your heart and soul already knows what your heart and soul already knows and you're being called? So these are some of the things to reflect on, and it's likely already clear for you. If not, that's why I shared those. Someone needs to hear that so you can do some of the self-reflection. But you don't have to figure this out. That's the one thing that's coming through very, very strongly. You don't have to figure this out. You don't have to figure out your next move. You don't have to figure out how you're going to move away from the situation that's no longer serving you. You're being called. All you have to do is tap into your heart. You're the child within that's rooted in magic and wonder and limitless possibilities. Breathe and come into the present moment and do nothing until you feel moved and inspired. And then when you feel moved and inspired, take action on that inspiration. So this is, again, balancing feminine and masculine energy. It's not trying to lead with the logical, rational mind. That's just going to leave you in a hamster wheel of anxiety and stress and doubt. It's about coming first home to yourself, tapping into your sacred feminine wisdom, your intuition, and what your heart knows, allowing that to surface, which is only done through the present moment. You can't be stuck in the mental body, bouncing back and forth between past fears and conditioning and future projection. That's duality. That's the dualistic mind just keeping you trapped like a ping pong ball, going back and forth. You have to breathe and come home to center, and then allow the inspiration to spring from here, and then take the sacred masculine energy on the inspired actions, the courageous inspired action. It's going to require courage because this sacred action that's coming through is going to get you out of your comfort zone. So it's going to induce fear if you're staying in the mind, right? But it's a sacred action that's intuitively guided that requires courage and faith beyond the doubt, beyond the fear. All of that is just like noise. All of that is noise. All you have to do is come back to center. All you have to do is come back to your heart and make the most aligned, right, inspired action, because you're approaching this from a clean slate moving forward. Like, it's time to leave the past behind. The past conditioning, the past ways of thinking, the past ways of being, like the story that told you it had to be hard, the story that tells you you're limited in some way in what you feel called to create or do. You're not. It's in your soul blueprint. This is part of your divine blueprint to live your best life and to be a walking, talking, living, breathing example of what is possible when you choose love over fear, when you choose heart and soul over the external world, right? Like, you're creating from the inside out. So if you're looking at your external experience and expecting it to shift before you shift, you're going to be waiting a long time. It's about coming in and tapping into your heart space first, and then taking with faith the inspired action that resonates, that lights you up, that sets your soul on fire, and challenging any belief system that comes in that says it has to be hard, that it can't be easy, that you don't get to be in your magic and in your flow all the time. This is what you're here to do. You're here to be a channel. You're not here to suffer. You're not here to sacrifice. You're not here to settle for crumbs. You're here to be a divine channel, anchoring in divine love on this during this ascension process. You're here to share from your heart and the magic and the medicine that wants to come through you. And you are divinely guided and supported in ways you cannot even imagine until you take those steps in faith, until you are devoted to your calling. This isn't laziness. This isn't like complacency. This isn't sitting around and doing nothing and just, not taking action, or just, being in a waiting pattern. That's waiting, like, you're not waiting for permission or anything like that. You're not at the mercy of waiting for something else to happen outside of you before you take action. That's the shadow of the child archetype, right? So the child within is the dreamer, the one that the one that wonders and lives in magic and mystery and infinite possibilities. But when you think of a child is always at the mercy of someone else for its survival. And the child was always at needing permission, right? From a parent or an authority figure or something like that in order to do things. And the child was also, the dreams of the child were often, uh, dumbed down by adults that have lost that magic within, that we're thinking very logical and linear, and there's no blame or judgment here. It's just, it is what it is. Over time, that inner child within, the one that dreams, gets kind of like stomped out of us by life, by circumstances, by people that raised us and things like that. And so we end up giving our power away. And the shadow of the child archetype, one of the shadows, is waiting for permission, waiting for something else to happen outside of you in order to give you the permission to follow your dreams. Just as a young child would wait for their parents' permission for something, right? But that's not. So you recognize when you fall into the pattern of the shadow of the child, because that is there to serve you. When you come with awareness, you can see the patterns of where you give your power away or where you wait for permission in order to take the next step towards what it is you truly want to do and what lights you up. And so that's coming up to share. The other thing that I wanted to share is that we're moving out of the wild feminine archetype, which started in the spring, and we're moving into a whole new feminine archetype on the December solstice, the wild feminine archetype, which has been the archetype for the last 3 months, is all about freedom and independence and tapping into that magic within and allowing and unleashing the magic within, and recognizing where you're still dimming your light, where you're giving your power away, where you're not choosing yourself, where you're allowing yourself to stay constricted or compartmentalized. And right now we're at the very tail end of the wild feminine archetype, which is probably my favorite feminine archetype to be working with. And you've likely maybe resonated with this the last 3 months. A lot has been illuminated around where you are limiting yourself by staying in situations or circumstances that are not serving your highest timeline and not lighting you up, where you're allowing yourself to stay feeling stagnant. You're not really stagnant. This is all a choice that can be made to free yourself at any point. And part of that is freeing yourself from the mental prison that keeps you going back and forth in doubt and fear and anxiety and all that, and it's coming back to center. So I just wanted to share that about the wild feminine, because that was coming up as well. I work with feminine archetypes inside Embody the Empress, and this is what we cover. So if this is something that resonates with you, then I welcome you to check out Embody the Empress. 2025 is going to be a ride, and you're going to be asked to step up into your leadership and into your sovereign power and into embodied divinity, knowing your worth and no longer settling or compromising your values. And right now, again, we're just going to end on this. There is a choice point to be made. And it's very, very important that you anchor yourself in the choice is clear. The choice is clear. The only thing that would keep you from making this choice is fear. And that's something to ask yourself. What would be keeping me from moving into this choice? The answer is fear. The answer is it's uncertain. The answer is you don't know. The answer is because it's not making sense to the logical, rational mind. But at the same time, it's calling you, it's lighting you up. You feel it. It's passion. It's purpose. It's inspiration. It's divine alignment. And it feels like it's time. And it's all of those things. And it's a knowing. The choice is already there for you, right? It's just about being able to recognize where you're choosing love or fear, and being able to take those steps. And as you take those steps, the way appears. I just saw a quote from Rumi this morning, which kind of reminds me of what we're talking about right now. And I don't want to butcher it, but it's something like let me actually look it up. Ooh, 144. So I love it. We're so guided, so protected. It's not funny. What is the quote? Let me just get it. Hold on. Oops, I just locked it. Yeah. As you start to walk on the way appears. And it's 144 when I pulled that up. Like, you are so guided. You are so supported. Like, does it even make any sense that you should be doing something with the passion that you have, with the gifts that you have, with what you're feeling called to do, with how it lights you up, with how divinely guided and supported you are? Does it even, if you ask yourself, does it even make sense? I mean, I know we were talking about logical mind before, but does it even make sense? I'm asking your soul, not the logic. Does it even make sense that you do not follow this? That you do not take inspired action on what you're feeling called to create or do? Does it even make sense that you compartmentalize yourself, or play small, or dim your light, or give your power away for a second longer, when you know and you feel the magic that I'm referring to right now, which I know if you're still here with me, you can feel it. And that's all you need to know. The way appears, the path appears under your feet as you walk it. So don't wait for certainty. Don't wait for it to make sense. Don't wait for a guarantee that it's all going to work out. That's not the path that you're on. You're moving into consciousness. Heart-centered consciousness is being able to create on the fly. It's like things are given to you and delivered to you before you even know that you need them, and you're like manifesting like out of thin air as you need it. But you're no longer creating from the egoic mind that says, I have to have all of this to protect me, and then all of this to protect me, and all of these other things happening in order to protect me and feel safe, and all this, which is basically just trying to safeguard against the fear of lack and scarcity and things like that. No, you are a free bird. You are a free spirit. You get to create on the fly, in the flow, as you need it. Things just manifest for you with ease, effortlessly, showing up literally at your doorstep before you even need that, before you even know that you need it, and you're divinely guided, divinely provided for, divinely compensated for your dharma. Part of your dharma is walking your path fully authentic, anchored in your heart and soul, answering the call, saying F you to fear, seeing it for what it is, and trusting and knowing in what your heart knows and answering the call. You know you came here for a reason. You know you have a mission on your heart since a long time ago. Since you were little, you know you resonate with, maybe you resonate as a star seed, maybe you resonate, with a lot of these teachings. Like, you already know this. Like, you came here for this reason. You are just having this physical experience as a human, and this is a really great avatar to play with, and it's a great avatar to have fun with. But God is channeling through you. Source is channeling through you. And God is using you as its mouthpiece, right? Like, you are a channel, you are a high priestess, you are a mystic, you are a sage, you are a divine channel, you are a way shower, you are a leader of this new earth. You came here for this very, very specific reason, and now is the time. We are going through a huge shift right now collectively, and you can feel it. And the reason you can feel it, the reason you're resonating with this, is because it's time. So you're going to look back at this moment, who knows how long from now, and be like, oh my God, can you believe the amount of stress and anxiety and doubt I put on just making a decision that was going to like catapult me into like my highest timeline? Like, it's going to be so easy for you moving forward into 2025 to discern resonance not resonating, resonance not resonating. Your job is to follow resonance. Your job is to follow what lights you up. Your job is to follow the fun, the flow, the playfulness, the child within, the one that's anchored in infinite possibilities. You can't take this 3D world, last thing that's coming up, I know I keep saying that, but taking this 3D world for face value and saying like, this is it, like, this is what's going, like, that doesn't make any sense to you, right? Like, you already know you are a multidimensional being. You already know that everything is energy. You already know that you're a channel, that you're divinely guided, that angels and your spirit team and your guardian angel and all these things, even though we are all one and connected, we are also, these are all things that are guiding you. It's like you get to play in this 3D reality. It's not taken for face value. Nothing you actually see in your external reality is what it seems. Reality is illusory, and that doesn't mean it's false, and that doesn't mean it's fake, but it does mean it appears as something as that it's not. It appears as solid. It appears as this tangible thing, but really it's all energy. It's all spaciousness. It's all mystery. We have no effing clue what's actually happening here. We have ways to try to figure it out, but we don't know. We don't know what this is. We use labels to try to describe it and explain things, but we don't know what this is. You don't know what this is. You have zero clue how you're sitting here watching this on the other side of the screen right now, or anything. Like, this is just a mystery at best, an unknowable mystery that you get to play in temporarily and have fun with. This should not be taken for face value. The reality that you see outside of yourself is just a projection of previous ways of being and creating from the level of frequency that you were operating from. But I'm here to share with you that you have shifted timelines. And the reason you have shifted time, how you shifted timelines, is the old world ways no longer work for you. Hustling, efforting, linear thinking, even, and goal setting, like, all of that's going out the window. You're just here to live presently in the moment, flowing, having fun, being the channel and the magic that you are, and allowing your steps to unfold for you. It's not going to make logical sense. None of this actually makes logical sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Like, we can label things and try to make sense of them, but it's not about like none of this makes sense. Our mind tries to understand it, but that's all it is. None of this makes sense. So the mind comes in to try to protect us and make sense of things, to keep us stuck in patterns and safety zones and comfort zones and things like that, and tries to give us this illusory sense of safety or stability or security, even at the expense of our own joy and happiness. And so this is when you see people stay stuck in relationships or careers or situations that are no longer serving them, because the mind is so good at keeping us safe. And its version of safe is not your version of joy. Its version of safe is familiarity, if I can say that word properly. Its version of safe is where you've been. And if where you've been has not been lighting you up, and if where you've been has been rooted in all of these things like settling, playing small, settling for crumbs, giving your power away, trauma, drama, all the things. If where you have been is not where you want to be, then it's about moving out of that familiar comfort zone, which is you cannot trust the mind right now. This is about the mind becoming a tool that is used by the heart. So as you drop into heart-centered presence and you surrender to the divine will and orchestration of your life, your mind will get on board with this and then start to take inspired actions rooted in your faith and trust. But you're kind of calibrating now to a frequency where you have to start calibrating to the frequency of faith and the frequency of trust. And then the mind will get on board with that and be like, okay, this is what we're doing now. Now we're taking steps into the unknown. And then like the unknown is no longer scary. The unknown is where you get to play and have fun and dance and move and flow and meet people and go places and do things. But it's like always, unfolding in the present moment of now, and you don't need to know any of it. And once you start to live this way, it's like going into the old ways of trying to figure everything out and compartmentalize everything. And none of that sounds fun. All of that seems very restrictive. It's like boring. You know what I mean? It's like dead energy. It's like zero inspiration, right? So I'm just rambling now because that's what spirit does when I get on a rant. But I hope this resonates with you. 717. And as I looked at the counter, I could just chat with you all day long and we would just have one synchronicity after another synchronicity. This is the magic and mystery that you are moving in. You're moving differently than you did before. So past conditioning and all that has to be let go. You're living now in the flow, anchored in your presence, anchored in your heart, having fun, taking inspired action. And if you don't have an action to take, perfect. Go for a walk, take a nap, have a bath, take a bath, go do something fun, go grocery shopping, be present with the food that you're buying and the smells that you're smelling and the sights that you're seeing, and just be present. And then when you're inspired and when you're moved to move, you move and you take those actions. Pay attention to the choice point that's coming. The choice point is going to be setting you on a whole new timeline that you're already stepping on. The reason you feel the discord right now and the reason you feel somewhat of a tug between the head and the heart, the rational mind and the heart's knowing, is because you are on the precipice of massive, massive, massive change, abundance, a whole new timeline that's completely different than what you are used to. Okay. So like I said, past conditioning, what you're used to, it's got nothing on you now. The word that's coming up is fresh slate, clean slate, new chapter, new life cycle, new beginning. You are putting into motion now things that are going to affect you for years to come. You are stepping into your legacy, you're stepping into your dharma, stepping into your highest timeline. That old version of you, we love her, we love him, right? Whoever you are, but that's not who you are. They played a role. There's a piece of them in you. That's why you're so resilient. That's why you're so strong. That's why you're a warrior. That's why you have the ability to step into faith like no one's business, like no one else can. This is your gift, is following your North Star, being able to follow your North Star and being a leader in this new paradigm. This is your magic. And as you do, the path unfolds for you. All you have to do is take the next step. You don't have to figure it out. If you don't know what to do, go for a walk. If you don't know what to do, go play with your fur babies. That's what I do. I go for a walk and I play with my fur babies, or I go have fun doing whatever strikes me at the moment. Going for a hike, being in nature, sitting in the courtyard, like whatever it may be. There's no pressure. There's no pressure. You just get to be. You just get to have fun. Go have fun. Go be. Go do or whatever you're feeling called to do that's fun and in the flow. Recognize where you're doing something that's based out of fear and choose differently, right? Can start to condition yourself that you are a cliff jumper. You step into the unknown over and over again, and before you know it, it's like, oh, and then you start to see a little sign, a synchronicity. Divine comes in and reflects that, because now you're operating from something completely different. You're not operating from the limited sense of self that is ruled by the mental body. You're no longer identified with the mind. You're living from presence. So this is key. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to articulate this, but I'm going to try. You're not living from the separate sense of self anymore. You're living as the infinite being that you are, that's having a human experience. Your conscious awareness is expanded out, right? Like you are opened up. You're not tunnel vision, being the separate self that feels it has to make its way through the world. You are expanded out. You get to play. You get to play, and your human vessel, your human channel is a part of all that is, but you are larger than this human vessel. Like, so you no longer live from being this identified with your separate sense of self, with just this physical body or your mind. You're not your mind. You're not this physical body. You are the conscious awareness and presence that is looking through your eyes right now. And that's looking from your eyes right now. It's also aware of everything outside of what's looking through your eyes right now. So as you expand your focused awareness, which is just basically consciousness focus, as you expand your awareness and you begin to live from a broader, more expansive state of consciousness, some will call this the witness consciousness, you will eventually no longer identify as a separate sense of self. And it will make no sense to allow yourself to get trapped anymore in the mind, but the mind always will hook you and try to hook you back into the game, into the matrix, using whatever carrot it thinks is going to get your attention. And it's going to use your past conditioning as the information for that. So wherever your weaknesses are, you're going to have these carrots that come in to try to hook you back into the game, into the matrix. Like you're the separate sense of self that has to figure everything out and has to worry her or his way through reality. That's not your being. Your beingness is much larger than the human vessel you perceive yourself to be. I know this is paradoxical. And that's the nature of this game. It is a paradox. You are all that is. You are much wider and broader, and you are expansive. You are boundless. You are boundless freedom. You are already free, having this human experience. The part that feels trapped is the part that is identified with yourself as the separate sense of self. And you feel that you are the separate sense of self having to make its way through the world. So it's kind of like, let's see if I can think of a metaphor. It's kind of like if you're playing a game of virtual reality. When you're in the game of virtual reality, if you've ever played virtual reality and you put on the helmet and you're like in the game, you feel like you are in the game. You're in the matrix. You are playing like you are, but you're not, right? Like there's a whole, like that's like a mask. That's like a human. It's like an avatar you're playing, right? Like you're playing that, but you're not really that person in that city or going through that, driving that car or whatever you're doing in virtual reality. You are much larger and expansive than what appears to be as just this person in the virtual reality game. So this is like one big virtual reality, and you are much, much larger than the human vessel that you believe yourself to be. And when you live from that, when you live from embodied divinity, recognizing that you are all that is, that you are the infinite intelligence that's controlling the virtual reality, that is connected to all things and is connected to everyone else, right? Like that you're one with all of creation while simultaneously playing this avatar, while simultaneously play in the game. You no longer play the game the same way. You're no longer trapped in the game. This is like you're no longer, yeah, trapped is the best word. You're no longer confined in the game. You won't play the game the same way because you see that you are this limitless, expansive consciousness that is one with all things. And simultaneously, you are having this human experience. And you're here to embody that and have not play from limited consciousness, aka fear-based consciousness, aka lack-based consciousness, aka scarcity, aka unworthiness, right? You're all that is. You're infinite intelligence. You're controlling your game. You know, you're in the game controlling it, but when you know your true essence, when you know who you truly are, you no longer play the game the same way. You are in the world, but not of it anymore. And your whole way that you navigate the sea of mystery that we call life changes. You're no longer constricted. My body wants to flow right now. I don't even know if I can sit any longer. Like, you no longer are constricted by what you used to think that you are, right? This small, separate self, this human body, and that's all you are. And this is the root of all the suffering. If you believe yourself to be this separate sense of self, then you will always think that you need to protect yourself against the big bad world that is not on your side. And there's always going to be this sense of separation. There's always going to be a sense that there's you and then there's everything else. There's you and then there's everyone else. There's you and then there's what you want to be doing with your life or the joy that you want to be having. But the key to the kingdom is knowing that you already are all of those things. You are already one with all of those things. You've just been believing, because we're conditioned to believe, that we're separate, that we are operating as a separate sense of self, which is not true. So, okay, I think I'm right at an hour. So I think that is something that I'm going to end on there. Took a little bit of a turn there I wasn't expecting, but that's what wanted to come through. So I hope this finds you well. If you got value from this, I would love to hear from you in the comments. If you want support on your journey, I would recommend checking out Embody the Empress. It's filled with channeled teachings, divine feminine wisdom that comes through, light code activations, and all the things, including sacred integration circles on a bi-monthly basis. So you get a lot, and you can go ahead and check that out wherever you're listening to this. So I hope this finds you well, and until next time, namaste.